Well, hello and welcome, everybody. I am David Toffel with WMPH Vacations, although you might better know us as iCruise, CruiseCheap, or AlaskaCruises.com. It is my pleasure to be with you here this evening for our presentation of Online Alaska. Now, before we get started, I want to tell you about our company and give you a synopsis of today's program. The Online Alaska presentation is a power-packed 40 minutes giving a terrific overview of just about everything you need to know about planning a vacation in Alaska. Alaska is an extraordinary destination where thoughtful planning pays off in creating an experience tailored just for you. By the end of the Online Alaska presentation, no matter where you are in the travel planning process, you'll have a far better understanding of the options available to you. And, of course, for joining us today, there will be special savings available exclusively for booking with iCruise, CruiseCheap, or Alaska Cruises. Throughout the presentation, your microphone will be muted, and you are welcome to ask questions using the chat window in your control panel. Feel free to click on it at any time and type in your question, and we will answer it at the end of the presentation. Now, allow me to take a few minutes to introduce ourselves. We are an online company with values rooted in good old-fashioned customer service. We believe that the potential of the internet in booking complex travel, like a cruise to Alaska, cannot be fully realized unless you have amazing, experienced people behind it, and the experts who are ready to work with you in planning an unforgettable cruise vacation. It is our team of cruise experts that set iCruise, CruiseCheap, and AlaskaCruises.com apart. If you walk into our office in Delray Beach, Florida, yes, you'll see a room packed with computer nerds. They build our wonderful websites and our industry-leading Cruise Finder app, which you can download on Google Play and iTunes. But the room where the nerds play is about the smallest room in our office. Leave that room, and you're surrounded by dozens of experienced cruise consultants manning the phones and answering emails. The consultants of iCruise, CruiseCheap, and Alaska Cruises are ready to help you, and they are passionate about cruising. Many of our consultants have been selling cruises for over 20, some as long as 30 years. Now, how does this help you? When you call us, you are working with someone who is knowledgeable about the ships, knows the destinations, but most importantly, they take the time to get to know you and what you want in a cruise vacation. So that leads me to tell you about our company name. Now, everyone joining us today found us online at iCruise, CruiseCheap, or Alaska Cruises, and those are just a few of the websites that we operate. But our company name is WMPH, and that stands for We Make People Happy. Yep, you heard me right. We Make People Happy. It is our company name and our company logo. It's a smiley face. And personally, I can't look at our logo and not smile. We make our employees happy, and we make our valued customers happy. Matter of fact, over 600,000 people have sailed on cruises with us, and it's our commitment every day to make people happy. And if you've not sailed with us before, we hope that we can make you happy on your next cruise. Okay, so enough about us, and let's get to Online Alaska. So today we're joined by Marie Ruzica of Holland America Line. I would think that just about everyone who's done a little bit of research about Alaska knows that Holland America Line is the industry leader in cruises to Alaska. They've sent the most people to Alaska, they have the best tour operations, the best docking positions in the port, and I can't think of a better way to go to Alaska than with Holland America. Now, back to Marie for a moment. I've heard that Marie tell her story many times of her visits to Alaska, and the excitement that she gets when talking about Alaska is inspiring. I've gotten to know Marie, and like the people at WMPH, she is experienced, she's passionate, and certainly knowledgeable about Alaska. Now, I'm not going to steal Marie's thunder, but she's been Alaska to more times than I have fingers, and if you're lucky, this will be my only attempt at humor today. I'm not trying to date Marie, but I've heard rumors that she started going to Alaska even before Sarah Palin was playing high school basketball or entering beauty pageants. So on that note, my last bit of humor for the evening, I'm passing the baton on to Marie to bring us Online Alaska.
Thank you so much, David.
I'm just giving you the screen.
I love it. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate it on this beautiful Sunday. All right, show my screen. All right, David, do you see my cute little bear?
I do.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Hi, welcome. No wonder the we make people happy. I mean, what a great company name. And it's been so fun working with you, David, for gosh, more, like the last 6 months, whatever it's been. It's been really quite lovely. So thank you. And thank you for the great introduction. This is Online Alaska, presented by Holland America and hosted by We Make People Happy. Of course, we make people happy. To tell you a little bit about myself, again, just like David said, my name is Marie Ruzicka, and I am the Alaska Events Manager for Holland America to Alaska. And let me tell you, Alaska was never on my list of places to go. I'm from Washington State originally, and I had heard that Alaska was where it snowed all year round and people lived in igloos. So that's what I thought all of my life. Alaska was never on my list until a fateful day when I was up there visiting friends to Alaska. And in just the flight, and of course this was the early 90s, and on that flight, I took a whole roll of film. When you could take rolls of film, I took a whole roll of film just on the flight. So definitely be prepared for taking lots of pictures. And when I landed in Fairbanks, Alaska, got off the plane. It was an amazing, I can't even express to you until you go there, about the beauty of the land, the smell of the air, the wonderful people. I was absolutely hooked. And I met my friend's boss at the time, who was working on the railroad, on the McKinley Explorer rail cars. And as soon as I met her, just what a great lady. And at the end of that conversation, she said, Marie, do you want a job? And ended up changing my ticket and spending the rest of the summer in Alaska, and fell even more in love with the place. When I left Alaska for that first season, I got a plaque that said, when you go to Alaska, you never come all the way back. And here's what a wonderful, I created a job where I get to talk about Alaska every day. I've been going up to Alaska for now over 20 years and love this place. And really can't stop talking about this place. So when people find out that I've been to Alaska, they have the same questions I did. Like, does it snow year round, and do people live in igloos? And once when I was going to drive up there, a friend said, you can't drive up to Alaska. Isn't Alaska an island? Indeed, I thought she was joking, but you might think that Alaska may be an island, and I know that there are certainly school-age kids that think that Alaska is an island, because this is how we see it on our weather maps and school maps, where Alaska may or may not be a part of Mexico, and it's floating as an island near Baja California next to Hawaii. And specifically in regards to the size of it, that it's about the size of Arizona. And that's what really, I was very, very surprised at the size of Alaska. So if indeed you did have a chance to put Alaska over the United States, if that was even possible, Alaska is way bigger than most people realize, certainly bigger than what I realized. Alaska could stretch from coast to coast if we put it over the U.S. The Inside Passage is in Savannah, Georgia. The Aleutian Islands go all the way out to California, and the top of Alaska is in southern Canada. And then if you add the Yukon Territory to that, then we're talking about over 1 million acres here. So I always say that the Great Land gets even greater. There are many reasons to go to Alaska. There are 4 reasons that usually come to the top when people are looking at this wonderful place to vacation. The number 4 reason that people want to go up to Alaska is to really see what the last frontier is all about, to experience the wilderness of Alaska and the Yukon authentic and pristine. Then, of course, to see the wildlife, the big 4 as we call them, the moose, the caribou, those beautiful Dall sheep, and the ferocious grizzly bears. Then the second reason that people want to go to Alaska is to view the glaciers, those massive rivers of ice. There are over 100,000 glaciers in Alaska. And the number one reason that people want to go to Alaska is to view Mount McKinley. It is 20,320 feet. Now, if you know Mount Rainier here in the state of Washington, Mount Rainier is 14,400 feet. So to know that Mount McKinley is a mile taller than Mount Rainier, it is a big mountain. And the picture that you're viewing here is just a small part of the incredible range of the Alaska Range that McKinley is part of. It's McKinley on the map, Denali to any of the locals. Denali means the high one or the great one. If you choose just an Alaskan cruise, you're going to most likely see glaciers and perhaps some marine wildlife, but would you like to see more, like Denali National Park? Or maybe you've experienced Alaska and Denali already and you want to have a new experience. Maybe get off the beaten path and go to the Kenai Peninsula or to see the Yukon. What experiences do you crave? Here's my first piece of advice, and that is to make a wish list. And if you don't have a piece of paper and pen in front of you, I say run and get one, because what I'd like you to do is start your own wish list and then prioritize that list and match it to an itinerary that makes your specific wishes come true. And let me give you an example of something you might want to put on your wish list. If in fact you want to see glaciers, maybe the national parks, you want to check off all of the national parks, and Glacier Bay National Park would be on your list. I would definitely put Glacier Bay on your wish list and then add it to prioritize it and make sure that Glacier Bay is on your itinerary, because it isn't on every itinerary. So make sure that what you want is on the itinerary that you're going. So that's just an example of something wonderful on your wish list. As I'm talking today, if anything sparks your interest, definitely write that down on your wish list. Make sure you have your pen in hand during my whole presentation so you can do that for yourself. There is so much to see and do in Alaska, I can't count how many times. Guests have told me at the end of their vacation they really wish they had spent more time. So here's my best piece of advice, is to take your time. The best time to go to Alaska is when you have the most time to spend there. You're on Mother Nature's schedule. Remember, you're not visiting a zoo. When you're viewing wildlife, you're going to be in their natural habitat. And vacationing in Alaska is not like that trip to Europe where you can kick out 2 cities, 3 cathedrals, and a castle all in one day. Alaska is huge, and it's a long way to go from wherever you are today. So you'll definitely want to take your time. Today I'm going to be showing you 3 different ways you can plan your vacation. They're going to include the 3 boxes at the bottom there. They're going to include your cruise plus a chance to see Denali and the Alaskan interior, or to do all of that, plus see Canada's natural wonder, the Yukon. So take a look at this page. I'm going to be showing it to you a few times during my time with you. And each time you see it, I'm going to be giving you new information for planning your vacation and telling you specifically how you can make your individual wish list come true. So let's start with those cruises. On a trip like this, the most important part of your trip is your cruise. You're going to see coastal mountains leaping up from the shoreline, waterfalls, and majestic forests all along your journey. You're going to be traveling along the inside passage through a 1,000-mile-long chain of islands. And Holland America ships are built with Alaska in mind. All of them are mid-sized ships that we have fewer passengers. They feature wraparound teak decks with wide open bows, which give you that perfect spot at the rail for that scenic viewing, because we want you to see what you came to Alaska to see. Every day on board a Holland America ship brings a wealth of activities with the freedom to partake in as many or as few as you choose. What about maybe taking a cooking class if you're a foodie at all? There are wonderful classes that are offered on every departure. And take a cooking class at the Culinary Arts Center. It's presented by Food and Wine magazine at our theater-style venue, state-of-the-art demonstration kitchen. Or maybe if you're into dancing, participate in a complimentary dance class based on the dance routines from ABC's smash hit Dancing with the Stars. This is your chance to learn the basics or learn a few new steps and maybe even compete in the Dancing with the Stars at Sea competition. There's also talking about food. There's going to be dining. So many options for you. It's an option for everyone, whether you have a 5-course dinner in the dining room, a casual meal in the Lido. Don't forget about that complimentary room service, or an intimate evening in the Pinnacle Grill. And then it's about personalizing your trip. What I love about traveling together, there's about 9 or 10 of my friends who love to travel, and we love cruising because and especially in Alaska. What happens is in every port, on every city that you visit, there's an option to do excursions on your own, so that everyone does excursions on their own. Then you come back and you share a wonderful meal and share those wonderful experiences that you've had during the day. This is a picture of zip lining. When I first went zip lining, and our guide turned to our group and he said, "Who would like to go first?" And a woman stepped forward and she said, "Today's my birthday and I'm turning 80." So no matter how much I was shaking in my boots, you certainly couldn't be afraid of going swinging from tree to tree when an 80-year-old wants to go first, and she was just a kick in the pants. So if you are interested in there are many types of excursions, but if you're interested in zip lining, make sure to write down that you can do that in Juneau, Ketchikan, Skagway, and Icy Strait Point. Maybe you'd like to immerse yourself in Native Alaskan culture. You can definitely do that on your trip. Or even dog mushing on a glacier. This is an exciting excursion. You fly up to a glacier, you land on the glacier, you get to dog mush with the glacier, and you get to play with the puppies. But you definitely can't keep them, and I found that out the hard way. They are not souvenirs. So while I take a sip of water, and if you have water around, please take a sip too, and I'll pause for a moment for the puppies. Oh, aren't they adorable? Holland America Line's been showing the Great Land to guests for over 67 years. That is longer than Alaska's been a state. With that kind of experience, we offer the perfect combination of the must-see with the seldom seen. Cruising in Alaska is spectacular. But no matter what you choose, I strongly encourage you to not only cruise, but to expand your cruise into a land and sea journey. And let me explain to you what that is. If you only do an Alaskan cruise, you're only going to see about 1% of Alaska. And let me tell you, it is a beautiful 1%. So if you only have 7 days, it is a wonderful choice. If you have more time, a land and sea journey is going to take you into the interior of Alaska, far beyond the reach of a typical shore excursion, and you're going to get to experience the last frontier. Remember that Mount McKinley, the #1 reason that people want to go to Alaska, and Denali National Park is about 300 miles from the coastline. So you won't be able to see Mount McKinley from the deck of your ship. So let's go right into those Denali land and sea journeys. This is the second series of journeys. Again, it's called Denali Land and Sea Journeys. If you want to see scenery, wildlife, and excursions, the crown jewel of Alaska's interior is Denali National Park. And it's featured in all of the land and sea journey combinations. And getting to Denali National Park is an experience in itself. Now, again, this is how I first got to truly experience Alaska. This was my first job in Alaska. And so I love traveling by rail. These are you'll travel on the Alaska Railroad aboard the McKinley Explorer rail cars. They are the largest passenger rail cars ever built. Everyone has a seat on the upper level. All of the seats are forward facing, and all of them enjoy sweeping views through the domed glass ceiling. Or head down to the lower level for breakfast or lunch, or just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. The park itself, Denali National Park, is the size of the state of Massachusetts, that green area right there. 6 million acres, 6 Grand Canyons could fit in Denali National Park. It's the home of big mountains, big animals, and big fun. Denali offers everything from adventure excursions, maybe enjoy a dinner show, and I don't know if there's any golfers on the call, but there are some extreme bragging rights during the middle of the summer that you can tee off at midnight in Denali National Park. There is a place to go golfing, so make sure that you do that. It's right outside the park, actually. And so, but again, extreme bragging rights, you can tee off right at midnight. There are 1, 2, and 3 night stays available. This is one of those special places. We know how important it is. So we know it's special, so we have 1, 2, and 3 night stays available, including the National Park Service's Tundra Wilderness Tour. This is a full day tour, and it's going to take you farther into the park. Now, let me show you this next slide here is a picture of that 6 million acres I was talking about. There are a couple of different ways to view the park, and the shorter way, that blue line that you'll see on the map there, that is called the Natural History Tour. That's the National Park Service's tour that they take out. You're mostly within tree line, so to see and the land spread out, you just don't see it as much. And if the mountain is out, this is your view of the mountain. But on the 2 and 3 night stays, Holland America makes sure that you are on the Tundra Wilderness Tour. And that is the purple line there. Now you're above tree line. As you can see in that rectangle there, that is, they say that is the best wildlife viewing because you're above tree line. You can see for miles. And if the mountain is out, if Denali is out, this is your view of the mountain. That's quite a Christmas card for you if you get in front of that. So that is your view of the mountain if it is out on the Tundra Wilderness Tour. You also, on those 2 and 3 night stays, you have more time for wonderful excursions in Denali National Park, like river rafting and hikes or ranger talks. I would have you stay all summer if you could. Then, which brings me to the third way to explore the Great Land, and that is through the Yukon and Denali Land and Sea Journeys. Canada's Yukon Territory is considered the best kept secret, and Holland America Line is the only major company in the Great Land to offer journeys into this incredible wilderness. Robert Service, the legendary Bard of the North, described the Yukon as the spell of the Yukon, and indeed it is spellbinding. The Yukon is 25% larger than the state of California, yet only 35,000 people live there, and 25,000 of those people live in the capital city of Whitehorse. So if you can imagine 35,000 people living in an area larger than the state of California, depending on where you are today, you could have seen that many people on the freeway heading home from a wonderful weekend. And Holland America has brought the wonders of Alaska and the Yukon even closer. This coming season, it's all new, a fantastic change. In fact, we just had our first flight from Dawson to Fairbanks. It's a 1-hour flight between Fairbanks, Alaska and Dawson City, Yukon Territory. It's going to transform what was a 2-day coach ride into a 1-hour flight. This is on all of the Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. It's a fully complete Great Land experience. You're also going to travel along the White Pass and Yukon Railroad, in or out of Skagway. This follows the path the gold miners took over 100 years ago along the Klondike Gold Rush. Another way you're traveling is on our Explorer luxury coaches. These coaches feature first-class legroom. Most coaches have 54 seats. These have 44 seats. You're going to have lovely legroom like domestic first class. And Holland America is mobility compliant on our ships, on our motor coaches, and on the rail cars. Your Explorer coach is going to travel alongside the Yukon River, visiting Whitehorse, and then on to Dawson City. In the Yukon, you'll find the historic town of Dawson City. It's an authentic, active gold mining town. An active gold mining town. This is the living history of the 1898 gold rush. It's the town of under 2,000 people. You're going to find unpaved streets, wooden boardwalks, and false front buildings. I don't know if any of you have seen the reality TV show Gold Rush, but sometimes from that TV show, you're going to see the stars of that show just strolling through town. There you're going to see gold miners paying for their drinks in gold dust. It is truly an active gold mining town. So if you are interested in the gold rush, the history of the gold rush, the stories of Jack London, or the poetry of Robert Service, or the incredible wilderness of the Yukon, truly, take a look at any of the Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. Now, because you're here today, I'm going to be showing you and telling you some insider tips. First of all, I want to make sure that you bring your spirit of adventure and fewer clothes than you think you need. Whatever you do, please don't bring that huge parka, because you're going to end up lugging it around your entire trip. It'll become, as I say, that extra guest in your stateroom. How Alaskans dress in the summer is to dress in layers, like an onion. And here is the perfect example of a little yellow onion. He's got an undershirt, overshirt, and don't forget about that warm fleece, and then a weatherproof jacket with a hood. And in his pocket, he's got gloves and a hat, because it's all about preparation. It's not about asking what day the best weather is. It truly is being prepared. I also say bring a little backpack, one of those little cloth backpacks that can just fold up in your suitcase, so you can take on and off the layers. Because as you can see, he's standing in front of a glacier. And I'm telling you this because it's really truly for selfish reasons, because it's hard to have fun when you're cold. So make sure that you are prepared. It can also get warm in Alaska. In the middle of the summer, it can get up to triple digits. So do bring shorts with you. You'll be surprised. And bring t-shirts. It's definitely casual up there. On the ship, you'll have an opportunity to wear something lovely if you'd like. There are formal nights on the ship. But in Alaska in general, it is very, very casual. So when is the best time to go to Alaska? Let me tell you, it is not about the weather. It's not, if I knew what the best weather was, I've been in the warmth in May and the rain in May, and same with any of the months of the visitor season. And I've also been in the beautiful sun, and definitely brought my shorts with me. So the better question to do is to ask, when are the seasons of Alaska, and when can you spend the most time? So I'm going to give you a brief download of the 3 different seasons of the visitor season of Alaska. The visitor season runs from May through September, and the spring is from May to the early part of June. This is the springtime, when the snow is melting and everything is turning green with lots of gorgeous flowers, and after a long winter's nap, the wildlife or the locals come out. The summer season is from mid-June to mid-August. This is when you'll see the salmon runs, blankets of wildflowers, and the midnight sun. This is time-lapse photography of the longest day of the year, June 21st. As you can see, it never truly gets dark. And then in the fall season is from late August into September, and the incredible fall colors come out, would rival anything on the East Coast, and they take over the tundra. And if the northern lights are on your wish list, make sure that you're talking about end of August and into September. That's your best chance of viewing them. After June 21st, Alaska loses about 6 minutes of daylight per day. That's every 10 days they lose an hour. So we're talking about mid-August, when we have normal to us type of days. And you can have darkness, and you need darkness to see the northern lights. So if in fact they're on your wish list, make sure that the end of August into September, they're your best chance of seeing the northern lights dance across the sky. Now here is the fun part. We're going to spend a little bit of time going through breaking down the 3 different ways that you can plan your vacation, because I want to make sure that you are armed with the best information that you have, that you can take to any of the agents at any of the companies of We Make People Happy, and you take your wish list and you say, help me have my vacation of a lifetime. Don't concern yourself if you don't have a brochure. I'm definitely going to be talking about what pages each of the slides are on in the brochure. But if you don't have a brochure, keep that page out and write down the series number if anything is of interest to you. And then let your travel professionals know at any of the companies of We Make People Happy. So let's first start out with those cruises. If you have a brochure, it's on page 61. let's first talk about these Alaskan cruises. The Holland America offers the Alaskan Explorer, which is a 7-day round trip out of Seattle, the Inside Passage, which is the round trip out of Vancouver, and the Glacier Discovery are the one-way cruises in either direction between Vancouver and Seward, Alaska. Well, let's say also that you have 14 days, you have 2 weeks, and you want to see more of the coastline. Take a look at the 14-day round trip out of Seattle under the Alaskan Explorer cruises. This cruise offers unique ports of call, including Kodiak Island, Homer, Icy Strait Point, and the ship even docks in Anchorage. If that is looking good to you, write that one down. Then they're going to now talk about the Denali land and sea journeys. As a reminder, a land and sea journey simply means that part of your vacation is on the cruise ship and another part is overland journeying into the interior. There are 12 land and sea journeys, and they're all organized by the number of nights in Denali. There's 7 Denali land and sea journeys and 5 Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. And let me explain to you, first of all, if you have a brochure, it's on page 47, the Denali land and sea journeys. And let me explain to you these wonderful colored squares. Inside the squares tells you where you will be, and the number on the top of each of the grid tells you how long you'll be there. Each of the colors represent different portions of your journey. The blue, for example, is your cruise, and the other multicolored squares are your time spent on land. For example, the brown squares represent your time in Denali National Park. So as you can see, D1 and D2 are triple Denali, 3 nights in the park. All of the land and sea journeys also give you the option to cruise first or to travel by land first. Now let me tell you what the difference between that is. What I always tell folks is that if they're interested in going by land first, take an extra day or more before your journey, because once you start your land journey, on a land first journey, you are traveling, your first day is traveling into Denali National Park. And again, it's for selfish reasons. I don't want you to be sleeping because you've now traveled all the way across the country. And so definitely take a day or two or more before your trip and enjoy, have your body get used to the new time zone. Remember, now you are in Alaska time. If you cruise first, everyone goes into Vancouver. That's one less time zone. Everybody flies into Vancouver and you start your cruise, and the very first day of your journey is at sea. Now that means you can do as much or as little as you want on the ship, and so you're easing into your journey. You're going by cruise and you're easing north into the great land, and you have that day at sea, so you can do as much or as little as you like. And here's another addition, the R tours, and that means R for round trip, and that means round trip Seattle. Let me explain to you what that is. If in fact you are interested, and let's take a look at, as you can see, D1 under the grid, it says also available as R1 with the Seattle Journey Connector. So what you do is do your round trip out of Seattle. And then with the upgrade of the R tours, Holland America takes care of the travel to and from Alaska and Canada. So that is with any of the R tours. I'll help you notice which one of these tours are R tours. And so again, it is an upgrade where you find yourself in Seattle, and Holland America takes care of the journey of the traveling to and from Alaska and Canada. All right, then D3, 4, 5, and 6 are our double Denali land and sea journeys. You'll notice that D5 and D6 are also available as R5 and R6, which are the Seattle Journey Connector packages, if you want to take a look at those. I also want to have you notice D3 and 4. What's great about D3 is it has an overnight in Seward, Alaska. And that Seward, Alaska is in the Kenai Peninsula. This is where Alaskans go on vacation, and beautiful and lush. And this is a picture of the Kenai Fjords. It's one of the highest rated trips in Alaska, the Kenai Fjords National Park Tour. If you truly want to see marine wildlife, there are resident whales that are in Resurrection Bay. It's a beautiful place to visit. So Seward, Alaska, if you're already on your journey, D3, that is D3. It also has the Sea Life Center there that you really get to see the animals up close. And then I want to talk also about D4. If you want luxury all along the way, take a look at D4. Not only does it have your 7 nights of cruising, your double Denali, that's 2 nights in the park, in Denali National Park, you are also going to be at 2 nights in Alyeska. And in the winter, this is a ski resort. In the summer, it is a beautiful resort with lots of hiking trails. There's a tram that takes you up to a beautiful restaurant called the Seven Glaciers Restaurant with exquisite views of the landscape. So that is Alyeska, that is D4. Then if you just want a hint of the Great Land with a 1-night Denali stay, take a look at the D7. It's 7 nights of cruising and the 1 night in Denali. Let's talk about those Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. This is the third way to create your vacation. If you want to get further into the wilderness, the best of the best is Y1. This is why Holland America calls it our flagship journey. It's got triple Denali. Remember, that's 3 days in the park. It's got the best of the Yukon with not only 2 nights in Dawson City, but 2 nights in the capital city of Whitehorse, and a full 7-day cruise. Plus, it is round trip Vancouver. So if you want to do it all and see it all, this is the land and sea journey for those who want to do it all, want to see it all, want to do it once. And if in fact 20 days are not on your docket, take a look at D2 or what, excuse me, Y2. Y2 has the 3 and 4 nights of cruising plus triple Denali and the 2 nights in Dawson. Y2 is a wonderful option for you. And what's really cool about the 3 and 4 nights of cruising, Holland America is the only major cruise line that has the 3 and 4 night option. So if you want a shorter cruise, definitely take a look at the Y tours. So having the shorter cruises, the 3 and 4 nights of cruising, and going into the Yukon is unique to Holland America line. I also want to make sure that you know that it's on page 33 if you hadn't figured that out already, for those of you who do have a brochure. The double Denali, Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys are Y3, Y4, Y5. And I also want to make note that the diamonds next to any of the Y tours that means you have a journey host on your trip. And that is someone who is going to be with you on the land portion of your journey. They get to know you. They can help you with picking land excursions or choosing wonderful meals on the wonderful places that you're going to be staying. That is, all of the Y tours have a journey host on board with you. The last question you may be asking yourself is, how do I get there? To show our appreciation for you being here this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you are, if you deposit within the next 2 weeks, you are going to receive up to $200 per cabin of shipboard credit. This is money on your account to spend on board. And an onboard value booklet with the value of $350 in coupons good for purchases on board. As you can see the bottom there, what the onboard value booklet, it may include some of these, like treatments at the greenhouse spa and fitness classes. It's really, that coupon booklet is really awesome. And family and friends are also available. If in fact someone from your family is not here on the call today, we are extending this shipboard credit to them. Shipboard credit and onboard value booklet. Make sure you definitely want to travel with them, because once you start talking about Alaska, they're going to want to go with you. So if you choose a cruise only, it's $25 per person onboard credit plus the onboard value booklet. If you choose a Denali land and sea journey, it's $50 per person. This is just extra spending money on board plus that onboard value booklet. And if you choose a Yukon and Denali land and sea journey, it's $100 per person onboard value booklet, or onboard credit plus the onboard value booklet. In addition, Holland America is now having their summer on sale. That is for specific selected sailings. You also have the options for cruise fares over $449. Also, any of the trips that are going through Denali, this is really awesome, is that $50 Denali dollars. That's money to spend at your hotel in Denali. So $50 per person, $100 per stateroom, plus free stateroom upgrades and free beverage cards and free reduced third and fourths. So I have made a slide today of both of the online Alaska show benefit plus the summer on sale show benefit. And I also want to ask David to come on back on board, and I'll leave this up for any questions that anyone may have, and if you want to let me know if there's been any questions, I will happily answer them.
All right, Marie, can you hear me?
I can.
Great. Let me just get my computer in order here so we can show my screen again.
Make sure you think about typing out any questions that you have about Alaska. We'll both be happy to answer any of them.
All right, Marie, can you see my screen now?
I can. I can see your screen. It's beautiful.
Terrific. Well, Marie, as always, that was a terrific presentation, and every time I hear you speak about Alaska, I learn something new. And I hope that you all found the online Alaska presentation both inspiring and educational. So as Marie said, now is the time for questions. And what I'm going to do is take about a 60-second pause here. And anyone who's got some questions, I know some of you have been asking along the way, and I've been answering them via the text messaging system. You're certainly welcome to type them in now, and be happy to let Marie know what they are. And so the first question that we have here is, Marie, is there any sort of a discount on a single supplement at this time?
There are not right now single supplement, and I that is a company policy, so I make sure there is. I know that there is not.
Okay, great. And then kind of another question here is how do you choose the best part of the ship to book in? What in your opinion do you like to look for when you're advising people?
I would say this is for me. If in fact you want to have an even keel as possible on the ship, I would say get into the middle of the ship, because as you can imagine, the rocking on either side. But really, we're talking about the inside passage here. I mean, I never can tell you how the weather is going to be in Alaska, and I can never tell you how the seas are going to be in Alaska. But once you're traveling up the inside passage, it's just you're more protected by the islands there. But I would I would say midship, and the higher up the better. Just for me and the view.
And I would say my experience is that when you're talking about the inside passage, there's roughly about I believe it's about a 90-mile stretch that where you are, there is some exposure to the Pacific Ocean, and the rest of it really is in protected waters. So when you're talking about a ship that travels about 24 knots, that means that for about a little over 3 hours, you do have some exposure to potentially rougher waters, but in the course of a week, that's really not a lot. So I don't have any more questions at this point in time, Marie. Oh, wait a minute. Another question about cruise and Denali, the combo. Is it best to take the cruise first, or is it best to take the package, the land tour portion first?
You really want to make sure what's best for you. Like I said during the presentation, if you are doing the land first, I really do highly recommend taking more days before your trip starts, just so depending on where you're traveling from. If you're traveling from the East Coast, I would say most definitely take 1 or more days before your trip. It's just really for your body to get used to the new time zone. And again, it's really truly for selfish reasons, because I want you to enjoy that either motor coach from Fairbanks or the rail from Anchorage, and I want you to enjoy it and not be sleeping the whole trip. For cruising, you are only going into Vancouver, so that you are easing more into your journey, and that first day is a day at sea, and that is so you can do as much or as little as you want. There's so much to do on the ship. but you can also rest on the ship too and get ready for your great adventure. So really, either way is wonderful.
So Marie, we have another question about, what is a free upgrade? What does it mean, and how exactly does it work?
There are, for the summer on sale, make sure that, obviously, you first of all, you want to take your wish list and make sure that you're getting everything on your wish list, because there are selected sailings for those free upgrades. And you want to make sure that we're working with your travel agent through any of the companies through We Make People Happy. Make sure you're taking your wish list in with you, so that if you say, hey, I'm looking more at a Denali trip, and or more at a Yukon trip, and here are the dates that I can go. Are there any of those dates that have the free upgrades, or any of those selected sailings have those? And that is how I would do it if I were you. The most important thing is to make sure you get your wish list, and that is the most important thing.
Marie, I think we might have answered most everyone's questions. So, what I'm going to talk about here is, tell you about how to book, and what is the best way to book your Alaska cruise. And the best way is to work with one of our cruise consultants. There are so many options to consider, as you now realize after hearing from Marie. So I'm sure that later tonight or tomorrow you'll even have more questions. And of course, you can always book online on our website, but really the best way to book an Alaska cruise is to work with one of our experienced cruise consultants. They're going to be able to help guide you through all your questions and find you the ideal Alaska vacation that is perfectly fit for you. You're going to find them to be most helpful and responsive, whether it's on the phone or via email. And so I definitely encourage you to call them. As you can see here, that we have, for those participating from Britain, although it's a little late at night, and for our Aussie customers, we have free phone and free call numbers, so you can call us call us for free. And then for those in the U.S. and Canada, you can reach us on 1-800-iCruise. Now, this is our busy season, and we do usually have extended hours during the weekdays. Unfortunately, our offices are closed right now, but first thing tomorrow morning, you're certainly welcome to call in, and we'd love to help you with your vacation planning. So with that, I really do appreciate you all taking the time, and Marie, always wonderful to hear from you. And I wish you all a great evening, and thank you for joining us for this evening's presentation of Online Alaska.
Thanks, everyone.